cardio and heart zones, and generally just being more in tune with your body. So the topics that we're going to be covering, it is how to work out your maximum heart rate and the zones, how the heart rates affect workouts, the zones that we should be working in for cardio, and the benefits that come along with it. So your maximum heart rate, for short, it is HR max. And if we're going to work it out, for example, let's use myself. So you generally do 220 minus your age. So just before I get going into it, while this is a good starting point, research has shown that this formula isn't perfectly accurate for all people, especially for people who have been fit for many years or older people at the other side of the spectrum. So it may be out by 1 or 2 beats, but generally this is what we're going to be aiming for. So 220 minus my current age, which is 28 years old, equals 192 beats per minute. So that's my max heart rate. Maybe out by 1 or 2. So it could be 194, could be 190. So for any cardio I'm looking to be in the range of 50 to 70% of my maximum heart rate, which would be in between 96 beats per minute and 134.4 beats per minute. So if you can, work that out yourself, for any cardio that you do, I want you to be in that 50 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. This is why wearing, a Fitbit, Garmin, Apple Watch, Whoop is vital, because we want to keep a track of the zones that we're in for optimal cardio results. So if you're on a fat loss phase, I really want you to focus on burning body fat in its most optimal condition. But I'll go into detail about what zones do what for certain stages. Heart rate zones. So zone 1 is warm up, cool down, active recovery, and ultimate fat burning. So you're exercising at 50 to 60% of your max heart rate. So generally you are looking at walking. At this point, 85% of the calories you burn is body fat. The downside to this, you're burning fewer calories overall than you would if you were exercising at a higher intensity. The positives, you're generally able to sustain this zone for the longest amount of time. So this is where cardio will mostly be, and that's the aim of the game, to burn body fat in this zone over a long period of time. So it's good for recovery and really good for your active rest days, but you can sustain it for a long amount of time, and that is less impact on your body and a lot better for you. So if we're looking at zone 2, building basic endurance, it is still fat burning and sustainable for long periods of exercise again. So you're exercising at 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. Roughly 65% of the calories you burn is body fat. So you're still burning body fat, but at a lower percentage and dipping into the glycogen levels at this point. And then finally, zone 3, improve aerobic fitness and muscle strength. So working at 70 to 80% of your max heart rate puts you in the aerobic zone. So only, or roughly about 45% of the calories you burn is body fat, but you are burning a higher number of overall calories compared to the other heart rate zones. You generally sustain this zone for the shortest amount of time. So you really are exerting energy at quite a hard pace. So there you can see zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, and then this is where it starts to get really hard. So maximum, you cannot sustain that for a long period of time. Right, so how do heart rates affect workouts? Now, heart rate zones let you know how hard your heart is working. Jesus, a lot of hearts hard. And what energy source you're using. So it's either going to be carbohydrates or body fat. The higher your heart rate gets, the more you're relying on glycogen from carbohydrates for fuel. This is also the case when you're doing strength and conditioning circuits, running or sprinting and strength training, as it usually uses glycogen stores for exerting that amount of energy. So a common question that's asked is, why do you burn less fat the harder you work out? So once your heart rate increases, you're not taking in as much oxygen, so you can't oxidize fat fast enough, so your body turns to another more readily available energy source to provide fuel for you, and that's glycogen, also known as carbohydrates. So, which is basically when your body digests foods and turns it into readily stored energy. So, body fat that we've got on our body, if it's a low heart rate, generally you're using body fat as the energy source there. If it's generally a higher heart rate, you're using food that's turned into energy, and that's called glycogen. The zones that we should be working in for cardio, so a pretty simple one. When it comes to any cardio sessions, I'd like you to be in the 50 to 70% range of your max heart rate, but it's not the end of the world if you do go above this. It all depends on your current fitness level, but if you try and stay in and around this zone, you'll do great and achieve optimal results of using that body fat as stored energy. Remember, the low intensity zone, which is 50 to 60% of your max heart rate, is where 85% of the calories you burn is body fat. So for fat loss, strength training, eventually building more muscle mass boosts your metabolic rate, which is the number of calories you burn while at rest, helping you burn more calories throughout the day. So the more muscle you build and gain on your body, the more it's going to boost your metabolic rate. So basically, if you get more muscle on your body, you are burning more overall calories. So it does help you overall. You'll burn fat at every heart rate zone, but like mentioned above, different zones use and require energy from different sources. So we can watch this quite carefully, and that's why we do that. As you build stamina and we continue doing cardio, you can push yourself into the next zone until you're comfortably at the aerobic level. We do this because cardio is a tool to help you become healthier, increase your life expectancy, and overall become fitter. When you do eventually feel fitter whilst doing the cardio, that's your heart getting stronger and a clear sign that things are improving. And finally, the benefits to cardio, which a lot of people, don't enjoy, but I think when you're working towards your goal, this is something that you embrace, and every step that you take is getting you closer towards achieving the physique that you want, the mindset, and so on. So we should look at cardio as a tool to improve your strength training sessions, recover better, become stronger, fitter, and have a long-lasting life. Always think that when you're doing this, you're building a better cardiovascular base, you're becoming a fitter individual, and how it's going to transfer into your training. So like I said, every step is going to help you become a better individual overall. Basically, we're looking to improve the longevity of your life in a nutshell. So the benefits are: Zone 2 exercise enhances your body's ability to produce energy over time, producing a healthier and better performing body. Decreases the risk of health conditions, helps you avoid acute fatigue, improves your immune function, cognitive performance, longevity, and more. Improves your heart rate variability, HRV, which is the seconds in between each heartbeat and your resting heart rate. And lastly, can improve your sleep. So, it is quite a big tool for a better life towards your goal. It's going to make things a little bit easier, but right when you're doing it, it feels like a fucking pain. But if you just do it, get on with it, you will start and eventually begin to love it.